Hey guys, go to hardafseltzer.com. Get some 8% seltzer shipped right to your house. We got the peach, we got the watermelon, we got the pina colada, and the blue raspberry. We are currently live in over 300 stores in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And if you're heading out to the Major League ballparks this summer, make sure to check us out in the Miami Marlins Stadium, as well as Tropicana Field, home to the Tampa Bay Rays, as well as the Tampa Bay Rowdies. We are live inside all three stadiums. So if you're down in Florida this year, check us out. Go to hardafseltzer.com today and check your store locator or order them right to your house. Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Welcome to Drinking Bros, kids. What's up, Christina Bobb?
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
You just looked at me like I was from a foreign country when, in reality, you're kind of the criminal right now, on the run. You're on the lam right now.
The fugitive.
Yeah.
Right.
Seems like you are. Is she missing an arm?
We weren't supposed to say this, but I guess since, we have no decorum here, right?
Yeah.
We have none. Are we all clear on that? None?
Yeah, I think we've been clear on that
she was
for a while.
escorted in here by police. She was in a
Sure was.
jumpsuit. They changed her up into this.
What you're seeing at home is a lady in a white dress. Now, 10 seconds before we got on camera, it was all orange.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw my book for you, and I was like, thanks for making news real again.
Well,
And you
look.
just lied, like opening the show.
We have 2 shows a week called Fake News. Come on.
Fake news is one of our biggest hits every week. Your real news, and speaking of which, your clients,
Yeah.
it's in the headlines a lot. God, what is his name?
Dave
Coulier. Is it Dave
Dave
Coulier?
Coulier, yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. It's Donald John Trump, kids. We've got Trump's lawyer on the show, Christina Bobb. She's got a brand new book out, Stealing Your Vote, that is available everywhere. Go to Amazon. It's easier. It'll get shipped to your house in 48 hours, and you're good to go. The reason why we wanted to have you here down in Miami, or beautiful Mar-a-Lago, as we like to call it. I'm sure Trump would have given us access to all of this, but
The club's closed right now.
Yes.
Set up, so otherwise, I'm sure it would have been.
I heard there was flooding issues. Totally kidding.
I don't think so.
That guy's still in jail too, which we'll get to. But in all sincerity, we wanted to have you come down and break down all the charges for us, because there's a lot of people at home that don't understand. They're just reading the headlines. They're just clicking on whatever the catchy title is. They're looking at the mugshots, and they assume, all right, well, there's 197 counts or however many there is.
91, right?
And then he's got to be guilty.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke, a lot of fake news, a lot of hype surrounding what's going on. And there's kind of competing narratives. You have the narrative of what the left really, really wants. And it's not just the media. The Department of Justice has actually partnered with that and by even bringing the charges. And then you have reality. Like what's real? What is the real exposure? And they're not just competing in the sense of airtime. They're competing in, like, because law enforcement is now partnering with this fake made up story, you have to wonder, are the judges going to participate? Or is like, you've got Fannie Willis, who has indicted people for, asking for phone numbers and giving phone numbers. And
What's the charge, though, for that?
Well, she put it under a RICO statute.
Oh, God.
Which
So
is,
it's a conspiracy predicate?
Right, and so
for
each
asking for
action,
somebody's fucking phone number?
Yeah, what she's trying to argue is that, if someone asked for a phone number and you gave it to them, that furthered the conspiracy. She has to charge things like that because there is no real crime.
But you have to show that person was involved in the conspiracy in the first place for that to be a thing, right?
Right, but there is no conspiracy.
Yeah,
so anything that she brings is going to be ridiculous because there's not actually a crime that was committed. RICO is usually for true organized crime, where you have, drug trafficking, money laundering,
Murder.
Murder. Hopefully murder's not. Well, I guess it depends on how you.
It is. So here's why I bring it up. So the RICO charges that are in Fulton County right now, there is a very famous rapper who was under RICO charges there, and murder is part of them. That he was in an organized gang. He had people killed.
Gang activity. That's right.
Right.
Yes.
But the way that they're treating Trump is if
he's running a gang down in
Right.
Atlanta as well.
Well, it's interesting. That's exactly the point, because what she's done is she's charged President Trump, his attorneys, political operatives, the chairman of the Georgia GOP, and political operatives working for the Georgia GOP. So without saying it, she's effectively saying Republicans in Georgia are a criminal organization,
Yeah.
and their activities were criminal.
Yeah.
And so all of the predicate acts that she puts in this pleading, they're just normal. They're asking for phone numbers. They're tweets telling people to watch TV, watch the news. They're discussions that lawyers have with their clients. Like, there's nothing actually illegal about any of this. Which is what makes it so
I think she
ridiculous.
might end up getting disbarred for this, to be honest.
So
this is like some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life.
It's really, really bad. Yeah, you're correct. It's the worst of all four of them that were brought.
Even worse than Alvin Bragg, because his entire thing is based on shit that doesn't even exist.
Well,
Yeah, and he's
we'll
a
get
little
to that.
nervous.
We'll get to Alvin Bragg. We'll wrap it up with Georgia here, because we'll go one by one here,
Sure.
state by state.
Well, Georgia and Washington, D.C. are the two that I don't want to say matter the most, because, of course, everything matters and you have to care about all of it. But they're the two that actually, I would say, have potential to cause problems because of how they're pled and what they're pled for. The classified documents supposed scandal, I don't think is going to go anywhere. I don't think there's a lot of teeth to that. Same thing to your point on Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg doesn't seem to be in a hurry to prosecute the case. I believe they have removed the trial date. They originally had a trial date in March. They removed that from the calendar, so it's just kind of out there pending.
limbo.
Well, he's got to
Yeah.
wait though, right? He's got to wait for Georgia, because if there's not a crime that was committed somewhere that Trump was covering up allegedly in New York, then those 23 counts are not even misdemeanors; they're a fucking citation.
Right.
You know what I
So
mean?
the Alvin Bragg's indictment is silly, and
Yeah.
it is eventually just going to disappear.
It's predicated on Trump getting convicted of something else. Otherwise, he has no case. Essentially,
Right. And the documents case, I think, equally, because there's a legitimate judge
Yeah.
in that case, and there's legitimate defenses, particularly the Presidential Records Act, that specifically covers Donald Trump. And it specifically, the statute, the Presidential Records Act statute, specifically says that it's the president and only the president who has authority to determine what records he keeps and what he gives back. And the only case law that really has interpreted it as it relates to the president, Judicial Watch versus NARA, the National Archives and Records Administration, that was brought back in 2012 by an Obama-appointed judge who decided that. They specifically cite in that ruling the archivist, NARA, does not have authority to tell the president what he keeps and what he returns. Like, that is expressly said in the opinion. Well, DOJ's entire case is based on the fact that the archivist filed a complaint saying, hey, he didn't return documents he was supposed to return. He doesn't have the authority to do that. So,
Well, with that, and pardon me for interrupting you, every president has taken classified docs over the years
yeah.
and then stashed them somewhere. Did the archive complain or file a complaint against the other presidents, including Biden, who they just found
Right.
in 7 different locations?
no. So they only referred, they referred Donald Trump to DOJ. And then, of course, after all of the documents were found in Vice President Biden's home, who is not covered by the Presidential Records Act. It doesn't cover the vice president.
Yeah, but they
It
were
only
covered
covers
by a
president.
67 Camaro, so it's fine. Right? It's secure.
That's my
There it
Corvette,
is,
man.
garage.
It's my
Or it's a
Corvette.
Corvette,
Right,
yeah.
it's a-
It's real safe in there. It's all locked up.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't know what you're talking about, Christina.
He
That's
almost.
right.
Do you remember? My favorite part of the last month was Biden telling the victims of the Maui fires that he almost lost his car in a fucking fire one time.
Look, sometimes that's more valuable than a child. Okay?
It's like, I know all your kids are dead, but I almost lost my
Yeah.
speed car, man.
Now ask me
Yeah.
which kid, because I've got 3 that I would prefer to lose.
I don't think I can ask you that.
You can, go ahead.
Okay, which would you prefer
No
to
comment.
use?
And that's what Biden said, and I think that's very relevant right now. Okay, because all those kids died in the houses, they all burnt up.
true.
And then he gave a no comment, man. I got to go to the beach.
And that is particularly tragic because so much of what happened in Hawaii, at least from what we can tell, right? I don't think that we're getting the full story and seeing everything, but from what we can tell, so much of it was preventable as far as
just
allowing.
bureaucratic incompetence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing in
Incompetence
Texas.
at best.
Same thing in Texas with the power grid, though. Every time it gets cold
ERCOT,
outside,
yeah.
the Republicans for the last 15 years in Texas have completely butt-fucked that state as far as the energy grid goes. Because every time, ERCOT is the name of the organization, yeah, every time it gets a little cold, everybody's pipes burst. The power goes out everywhere. Like, what was it? 300,000 people had no power for like over a month or something.
Oh, yeah, it was
I don't
like
remember what it was.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy. The Hawaii thing's a little more dicier. It was a luau, actually, that started that with a homeless person. Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I had seen reports about maybe it was after the fire started and they didn't turn the power grid
No,
off.
they didn't have a pig, so they actually used a homeless person for that luau. And California's moving people there, and they were trying to keep warm, and all of a sudden it all caught up.
Let me ask you this. Do you on a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you believe that he's a guest chef at the Olive Garden tonight? Because
I have a lot of faith in things that you guys tell me.
you should never believe
No,
us.
you should. You should believe everything we're telling you.
I got suspicious when you told me they'd cut me off at 4 breadsticks. I was like,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're like, he's the guest chef, so they're super high quality breadsticks.
Very high quality tonight. I like to elevate them, and people just don't really understand. It's truffle butter tonight instead
Truffle
of just
butter.
regular garlic right out of a jar. And that's what I do as guest chef at Olive Garden, and I'm looking forward to that.
He also does a massage for everybody at the table.
I do.
Only shoulders, though,
I do.
right? Because
Only
obviously you can't
Right.
get up on the table or
That'd be
anything. I
gross.
mean, that'd be crazy. If you got up on
Yeah.
the table and got rubbed
all
down with olive
shoulders
oil at
tonight.
the Olive Garden, that'd be crazy if that
If
happened.
you're having problems elsewhere, like with your calves, I can't do that tonight.
Okay.
Just know that. Okay?
We don't have any stirrups at the Olive Garden.
Sure
okay?
don't. They ran out in '86.
Stirrups?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how you
stirrups.
do a calf massage. God, are you even
Stirrups?
from America? What is wrong with
Stirrups
you?
I've never
at
been
Olive
in
Garden
stirrups.
it's the
massage.
same as ERCOT is in Texas. Like, they should have spent more money on it years ago to fix the problem. But I digress.
Right.
Back with Trump, obviously.
oh, I was going to go back to the breadsticks.
Oh, you
Okay.
can.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine because he loves them too.
Everybody loves Olive Garden's breadsticks.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't love the
Who
breadsticks?
doesn't? But back to Trump
Okay.
here. You're not only doing the January 6th trial, I believe. You're part of the council.
So I'm litigation support. I'm an attorney at Save America. John Lauro's the lead trial attorney for
Gotcha.
that, and I'm supporting John Lauro.
But you have to testify in the Florida case, correct?
If it goes to trial, I mean, yeah, I would be a witness if it gets that far.
This
and
is
if
the
they
records
decided
one,
to call
right?
it. Yeah.
That's probably not going to trial.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's gonna. There's
I don't
already
know.
case law on this. It's gonna get thrown out.
It should get thrown out.
But if
I mean,
if it goes, are you prepared?
yeah, I mean, I know my story. I know what you know.
Where were you October 13th, 1996?
1996. I was almost 14. That was right
Okay.
before my
Oh,
14th
shit.
birthday.
Oh, wow.
I didn't see. The public didn't know that.
No, very tender age to be doing things like that.
In 96?
Yeah, what were you doing then at 14? What'd you do that day?
It was crazy. I was a guest chef at Olive Garden.
Oh shit. 14, the young. She was the Doogie Howser of Olive Garden.
I
Yeah, no,
was.
they've got a kids show on the Food Channel now, so it
wouldn't
makes
believe it.
it makes sense.
I used truffle butter on the breadsticks.
My favorite part of that is when Gordon Ramsay just yells at the children. He never actually does on that show, but then somebody on YouTube has made an edit where they take him yelling at adults and then cut it into the scenes with the kids, and the kids are just like bawling, and it's Gordon Ramsay just lighting them up.
He did. Oh man, there was a kid who made eggs Benedict, and he said it was terrible, and he did pull out his penis and balls and piss all over it. And I thought they had to blur it out on Fox, but I thought it was a little much. But he's like, I can't swear on this show. I was like, all right, I guess so. So they were able to blur it out, and it's fine. But if you do have to testify down there in Florida, Christina, are you ready for it?
I'm ready for, whatever happens. I think there's a lot that needs to happen that is going to happen between now and then. And so,
Ready for whatever. That's a T.I. song. He's from Atlanta.
He is.
oh,
Yeah.
All comes back
Also been
together.
arrested. Also,
Multiple.
yeah.
Also
do
spent
you
time
have a
in
Fulton
jail,
County
yeah.
mugshot?
That's a good one. Let me think about it.
I feel like you should know this.
No, you know what? I actually told this story to Dan. I ran from the cops, so I hopped my
And you
car.
made it? Like you.
I did. I hopped twice, 3 times.
What, you don't think he
first
looks
one-
fast?
First time I was in. This is a terrible story, but they can't do anything about it now. I was in the car, 89 beige Ford Tempo.
What year is this?
This was, I don't know. I'm 33, so just go back and do the dates, obviously, but very tender age of 33. But the cops were coming, so Fulton County was still our county. And I hopped the curb, all 4 tires blew out. And God, this is going to sound even worse. There was 7 men in there buck naked, including myself.
And what kind of car was this?
89 beige Ford Tempo.
I'm not going to ask follow-up questions on
You don't
that.
need to, but
Okay.
here's what happened is because it was Fulton County Police, that jail that Trump was at, like, we know that jail. That's our county jail. That's where I grew up in.
Have you
Everything
been there
else.
naked?
I have not.
Oh, because you made it away.
Made it away, but here's the thing. We were warned as kids, no lie, that it was the worst jail on the planet. So
Yeah,
they
you
said-
would have been the slowest person at that jail.
Oh,
Probably.
But not only that, because you imagine a white kid going in there buck
Well, that's-
naked.
Well, there
I
were
had no
7 of
clothes.
you.
There were 7, yeah, but still,
So your odds are 1 in 7.
it's still 7 buck naked white kids.
I
Good
think they
luck with
probably
that.
would have given you like a little dress to wear or something, a little sundress, right?
That would have made it worse.
A little bit
that
more
makes
than
it,
that,
makes
yeah.
it way better.
The sundress is my face.
Yeah.
Sorry, that I was about to take that real crass, but held back today. You're
Thank
welcome,
you. I appreciate
Christina.
that.
But that's how bad that jail was. Another time they brought the paddy wagon and everything else, bolted off into the woods, and it's an awful place to be.
Wait,
and
you
go.
bolted off naked into the woods?
Yes,
Like you got out of the car and ran naked?
I had to walk
Did you have
5.6
shoes
miles. Yeah, I did have shoes on.
So you're naked with shoes?
Correct, because I care about my feet, and I didn't know if I'd ever have to get away.
Okay. This all makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what's
it
your-
was like a senior year kind of prank
When you were
type
33?
of deal.
What's your professional legal
No, you're
opinion?
going 33 backs. I graduated, I think, in 06 high school.
Oh. I'm sorry. I
so-
thought you were saying when you were 30.
No. I'm 33 now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry for my confusion.
No, it's fine. You got to get used to this as a lawyer. You're going to have witnesses on the stand who are going to test your will and power sometimes, and I'm one of them today, and I think this is a nice practice for you.
It's helpful.
But with that jail is so horrific. We knew never ever to go there. So when it was surreal seeing him get driven down to Fulton
Yeah.
County Jail, we were like, "What the fuck?"
Why is he wearing clothes?
I don't know.
You know?
Don't know.
Last
Who
time
you talking
were
about? The
there.
Donald?
Yeah, Donald. But as it was going on, you and I had chatted on the phone beforehand,
Right.
and I was asking you about the mugshot, and I go, "You guys are praying for this, right?"
Yeah, everybody was. And that's the thing that's so funny about it is all of us, like not just me, like all the MAGA people are not just our lawyers, but all of the spokespeople and everybody, and just our influencers and fans
Yep.
with a voice. Everybody was like, this is going to be the best thing ever. Like it's
So
going
good.
to help us out so much. And everybody was saying this, and we'd been saying it for like a week beforehand. And then of course he takes the mugshot, and of course it's just like a killer mugshot.
great.
It's a great mugshot. And then the left gets upset that we got all excited about it. And they're like, I can't believe that they're, merchandising this. And they, kind of wag their finger at us. It's like, we told you it was going to happen. We told you not
Well,
to
how did
do
they
it.
not know? Because this is what I said on the show the day after with Dan was, how did you not know? And obviously there was rehearsal with the mugshot and what you were going to do, and it was pre-planned and all that other stuff. How did you not know by taking that guy's mugshot that it would go around the world? He would have I believe he set a record in 48 hours for fundraising.
Right.
Mugs, T-shirts, everything else. He even came back to Twitter
Yeah. And
for
yeah.
it. And it was such a massive help, and everybody was so pissed off. Even the left was just like, oh, why did you do this? And I think personally, obviously she wants some political position,
Yeah.
and this is her shot at it. However, that was a major backfire in my opinion.
Absolutely. And what it did was his poll numbers with the black community doubled because they go, oh, I can relate to that. We, the black community, have been crying about this, like raising our voices about, injustice in the criminal justice system. And now Donald Trump gets it. And so now they feel that they can relate to him in a way that they didn't before they did that.
And that's exactly what I said on the show, because he sent me video of everybody outside, and he goes, what's going on here and why? Like, most of those people vote Democrat. And I go, you don't understand, in that area of Fulton County down there, they don't ever see celebrities like this. The last time I can
Right.
remember as a kid was Deion Sanders when he was going back and forth from the Hawks, or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, the Braves to the Falcons. But typically, you don't get any famous people that roll through there like that. 1, 2. Yes, they've all been arrested, and
Yeah.
now they feel like the justice system did them
It's
wrong.
unfair,
And now
yeah.
he's one of them. And
Right.
it's like, hey, dude, you're going through the same shit in the same awful fucking jail as everybody else, and he's one of us.
Yeah. It's amazing to see. It's really, it's just really astonishing to see. And they're proving his point when he's been saying this for years. They're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way. And by doing what they're doing, indicting him, taking his mugshot, sending him to jail, trying to send him to jail, whatever they're doing, people who have been screaming about injustice, particularly from the Black community, and then the conservatives that see what's risen up recently. We have an image, we have the mugshot, we have something that we can point at, the video footage of him getting arrested in Fulton County, and just say, look at what he's saying is accurate. He is trying to return the power of government, the power of the justice system back to the American people, but the people who are currently in control of that system of government are doing everything they can to prevent him from doing that. And I think the imagery that they're providing is essential for the public to truly understand what Donald Trump is trying to do.
Yeah, I do too. And we'll start with the first one in New York. So
Yeah.
Alvin Bragg was obviously the first one to bring charges.
Right.
Now, from my recollection, in the state of New York, you don't exactly have to say what they are publicly. I believe there's 37 counts?
Yeah, I think there's 37 counts, and I have.
Do you know what they actually are?
I read it when they came out a few months ago.
So
but
did I.
It's on. No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's
No.
not, and it's not anything that is. Even if they were able to get a conviction on all, I think it's 37 counts, none of it would impact his political career or what he's doing. So it's kind of like a nobody cares type of. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody cares. It's every criminal case is important, but Alvin Bragg himself has agreed to kind of put the case on ice until we figure everything else out. If you,
but I'm glad you said nobody cares. Was that the plan? You think like, hey, let's start in New York with these charges that don't really matter, but at least we can get the ball rolling, start to slow everything down because we are in election season.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to miss rallies. You're going to have to miss events. You're going to have to miss phone calls and meetings with donors and all of that stuff because the legal process is time consuming. And even for a guy like Trump, he's got to get on a jet, got to land in New York, you got to get the Secret Service, you got to clear out the entire streets of New York, you got to go into the courtroom and all that other stuff. It's not easy for the day, and it cuts into, because I look at it from us, like we're nowhere near the level of Donald Trump. We've been sued a ton of times. It's so time consuming, and all these lawsuits are such a time suck at the end of the day. That's it. It's just a drain.
Yeah.
The lawyers win, nobody else ever wins, and then that's kind of it. But do you think that was intentional? Let's start with this one, and then we can get the other states going, because Dan and I both think all four of these people have called each other behind the scenes, saying, all right, what do you got? How do we do this? How do we waste the most amount of time during the election? And then what's the one that'll really kind of stick? And then maybe we can jam that one home.
Yeah, so I'm conflicted on this because clearly there's some type of coordination, right? You don't go for 2.5 years after he leaves office with all of these investigations and then within months and in some cases days or weeks of each other, all of these indictments come out. So there's clearly some level of coordination.
And all the indictments also happened when Congress was out of session, which is kind of an odd thing, to be honest. I mean, they're out of session a lot, but it's odd that all four of the indictments occurred when they were out of session.
Yeah, the timing of it, I don't know, the timing of it just indicates in my mind that there's coordination among all, and Congress being out. I also don't think Congress is doing anything about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, the significance of Congress being out, though, is there have been these impeachment inquiries potentially behind the scenes with McCarthy and those guys. Because they're not there.
You mean Joe Biden impeachment inquiries? Okay.
But because they're not there, when these pop up, everybody's really angry right away, but they're gone. And then you come back, and then there's another set of charges, but they're gone again.
Right.
Come back, boom, there's another set of charges. And then as of yesterday, McCarthy and them are still talking about lobbying this possible impeachment inquiry. 1, 2, the Biden team has carved out a separate room in the White House of, I believe it's 12 lawyers who are working on what potentially these impeachment charges might be. So they're expecting it. They just don't know when it's going to happen.
Right. I mean, Joe Biden has been taking money from foreign countries for the purpose, what appears, we can't find any other identifiable purpose other than influencing American policy. So he's influence peddling. There's been several reports come out on it. The only reason why I say I'm conflicted is because it's clear that there's some level of coordination, but they also seem to kind of contradict each other a little bit. Not just contradict, but kind of get in the way of each other a little bit, particularly Fani Willis and DC's January 6th case. There is some conflict among the two cases that has the potential to help the defendants in those cases.
Because there's overlapping evidence or overlapping witnesses.
Well, yeah, and anytime this is why it never happens, is because the last thing you want is a guilty verdict and a not guilty verdict, and then appeal it up, through different courts and say, you're going to try to remove Donald Trump from the ballot, or they're going to try to do whatever. And to be clear, I don't even think that's in the realm of possibility. But they're talking about it like it's something that
New
they want to do.
Hampshire's trying right now.
And yeah, there's a few states that are trying.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's not going to win New Hampshire anyways.
No, but the fact that people are even trying is crazy to me.
Yeah, I actually think, well, anyway, the fact that they're trying shows a few things. One, it shows that they know they can't beat him legally, so they're trying to take all these weird steps to beat him another way. And then two, it also shows that the rigged election that we saw in 2020, and I know people go, was it rigged? Was it not rigged? It was rigged. Like anybody with any sense of intellectual honesty would look at that and go, that's a rigged election.
Well, have you seen any of the evidence behind the scenes for, let's take the Fulton County hearing with Fani Willis, because that's about the election.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything behind the scenes? Because, Dan and I have played some videos that have been circulating from Fulton County where it appears as if ballots were counted multiple times, going through the machine.
At least 4,000 were counted multiple times, which is...
So is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. So so November 4th, 2020, right? You've got the media giving the narrative of this was the most secure election in U.S. history. There's no evidence of fraud. We go, what do you mean there's no evidence of fraud? First of all, you stopped counting in the middle of the night, which is weird in and of itself. It's never happened before. And they come up with all these excuses of why it was appropriate to stop counting. And then you wait 3 days. So you can count, let's use Maricopa County. You can count 2.4 million ballots in one day, but then it takes you 3 days to count the last 100,000
in the same county. In
the same county.
Yeah.
Or were you waiting until you produced those additional ballots and then you counted them? Because it sure looked, granted, I was just a reporter. I'm just standing there observing, talking to, people on the ground, but it sure looked like they knew what the result was and they waited 3 days and just changed it.
And then one of the ways you can tell somebody is guilty is through the cover-up. And
the cover-up was worse than the actual cheating.
The Secretary of State, who is now the governor, right?
Yeah, she ran the election.
Was in charge of the election and also writing letters threatening to imprison people for not certifying her fucking ballot count.
Yeah.
That's
and she did that in her own election in 2022.
Yeah.
When she ran against Carrie Lake.
Good Lord.
You knew about that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So the people who are legitimate winners of elections don't then imprison people who challenge them and don't then try to clamp down on these dictatorial tactics.
Wait, are you saying that Vladimir Zelensky wasn't elected lawfully in Ukraine?
On. People love him.
Oh, can I start a new conspiracy?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen this anywhere, and I have no actual data other than what's out there. So this is just and I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought this, but so because I get all kinds of random questions about the election because I wrote the book. What if back in 2016 they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win the election?
Yep.
Right? Because the reason why I thought this was because you were talking about Zelensky. He shut down the elections, and he's like, we can't have elections anymore unless the United States pays for our elections. Come on, we have 100 billion times. But what if in 2016 they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win? You've got Fauci coming out before the election saying, the next president's going to have to deal with the global pandemic, right? All this stuff. So they clearly anticipate COVID happening 4 years later. And remember, before Donald Trump came in, they were like, you're going to have a war with North Korea. There's going to be war with North Korea. There's going to be war with North Korea. What if, Christina Bobb conspiracy theory, what if, and I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not saying it's true. What if they were planning on starting a war, releasing COVID, and shutting down our elections, and they weren't actually going to let us have an election in 2020, but they had to because Donald Trump was in office?
That's getting deep.
Yeah.
That's getting real deep.
Yeah.
You want my...
Well, because... No, I know it's extreme.
Here's my honest opinion looking back on it, right?
Yeah.
Because we were covering it then, and I think I was the only one that picked Trump to win. That's how the show kind of took off. We had a crazy episode, and then afterwards it was an election prediction show, right? What I've heard inside the Trump camp was even they were shocked that night that he won.
I don't think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's say we were friends with the kids. So we know the Trump
Yeah,
family.
okay. So I've had similar conversations. So, okay.
Yeah, and I said, what really happened that night? And it was like, holy shit, we won. Like, holy shit.
I think that's a natural reaction.
It is, but every single person had picked Hillary, right? Across the board, up and down, everything else. And as the night went on, 'cause I don't know if you remember the election party in 2016 on every network. They were popping champagne. They were like, oh my God, this is going to be historic. We're breaking the glass ceiling. They had the cutaways and all that shit. I don't think they knew. I really don't.
No, my point is I think that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
They all thought Hillary was going to be in.
Right.
That's what I mean.
And so I think as time went on, they've had to change these tactics and everything else. As far as COVID getting released.
But they're trying to recreate, and the reason why I bring it up is because they're trying to recreate the same circumstances right now. They're doing everything they can to get us into World War III with Russia and Ukraine.
Right.
And they're trying really hard to bring back COVID. They are trying to recreate the circumstances that they had in 2020 that I think they were going to take advantage of in 2020. But the problem is they had the wrong person in office.
Ah, gotcha. I hope not. Because,
me too.
Well, here's the thing. And what we've seen, Dan and I, just traveling around, because we do live shows everywhere. The mask thing, I do not think people will participate in this again.
No.
Everybody's over it. Everybody lost their businesses. If this is the Democratic plan, I think it's a bad one.
Well, their plans are mostly bad, though. Like every now and again, it works out on accident.
But for voters,
running Hillary Clinton during a populist election was a huge fucking mistake. She was never going to win. Like anybody, that's why you knew.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting in a room with a bunch of liberals when it happened, and I can see I'm looking around, kind of casually watching them do math in their head, and I'm like, yeah, it's coming to an end here, buddy. The idea that this woman who's been wrong on every statist, she's essentially a fucking neocon, right?
Yeah.
She's just a war hawk. She was anti-marriage equality. She voted for the fucking Patriot Act twice. Assassinated the character of men or women her husband raped. Like she's everything that the left hates, and somehow she's their golden god. It doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make it so. They run a person like that and just assume, oh, fucking, I
think they planned on having the election rigged. They underestimated the popularity of Donald Trump.
Yes.
They underestimated how much people liked him.
And then to the point of them just being serially incompetent. This mugshot thing is not the second. There's a slew of fucking examples of this, but that's another big one. Like they had to know exactly what that was going to do, right? If you don't know, if you're a media person, if you're a PR person, you don't know what that's going to do, you're fucking stupid.
Wait, what's going to do?
What getting a mugshot of Donald Trump out into the public.
Yeah.
But you take a mistake like that, you take this Ukraine war, if he were to get in it. I haven't met anybody in real life who wants it.
No, which is why they're struggling to do it.
It's
the
only
left
politicians.
Wants it.
Well, it's not just the left.
Lindsey Graham wants it. I mean, like.
There's a lot of Republicans in Congress and Senate, to Dan's point, that do want this war for their own selfish financial gain.
Exactly right.
That they give a shit about Zelensky and the people of Ukraine.
Of course.
Well, Mitch McConnell buys cocaine from Zelensky, and he's obviously run out.
Yeah.
So
he's glitched out.
He's glitched a couple times. So, and this was the biggest thing. Like when I was a reporter and I was investigating whether it's the election or just the politics of reporting, and you guys, I'm sure, see this doing what you do. It is no longer Republican and Democrat. I mean, yes, we still have those parties, but that is not the dividing line. Like there are so many Republicans that are on the what I'm calling the left.
Yeah.
There are so many Republicans on the left, and there are, I think, like Bobby Kennedy Jr. He's technically the left, but I'd say he's on the right in the sense that he's pro-American. I don't agree with 98% of his policies,
right?
But I do believe he believes in America.
He's a classical liberal.
Yeah, he's a true American Democrat, and that is the dividing line, I think. And the problem for so many Democrats in America is they don't have a party anymore. I know people have been
the same thing with Republicans too.
Well,
they have MAGA now. They have Trump. So the Democrats don't have anything like that, I don't guess.
That's right. The Republican Party is going through this renewal, or really whatever you want to call it. Like we're recreating ourselves through this MAGA movement. The Democrats don't have anything like that.
Well, not necessarily in the legislature, though.
No, but that needs to happen. I mean, if we can't push what we're doing with this MAGA movement into actually cleaning out our side of the legislature, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're right. The right and left, Republican and Democrat exists only because the infrastructure for it continues.
Right.
But people don't think like that anymore.
Correct.
I don't run into many people that think like that.
And it's not just the people, it's, I think, the true power players, the people who are in positions of power at this point, like the McConnells, the Lindsey Grahams, and Chuck Schumers. They're not on opposite sides of anything. They play a part for their voters and for their base. But they don't actually disagree. I mean, they're both fine.
It seems like they're all working together behind the
I've been
scenes.
telling you this for years.
Yeah.
The aristocracy will protect itself
exactly what it
before they'll protect any given position or person.
And that's why they don't want to release the CIA documents on Kennedy. Why? Because they want to protect the institution.
Yep.
They're institutionalists.
Yep. And I agree, but if you get into COVID and you get into a war before this election, I think both of those issues for most Americans will be just as polarizing as it was for Republicans in the abortion going into the midterm. I think it would be a massive mistake by the Democrats.
It will now.
So
it's like they already fired their shot. Like had they done it in 2020, they may have been successful at it. But because they did it in 2020, they can't do it again immediately in 2024. So that, I mean, that's what
You
I'm saying.
say that, but they're obviously
They're
not.
trying.
The strategy-wise, they're not very good. Like what the Democrats have going for them is that they're willing to cross the Rubicon. They don't give a fuck about laws.
Well, they've been forced to. I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to come out, and I don't have like secret information or anything, but just looking at their activity, I can see somebody's hiding something, right?
There's some collusion going on.
There's
in the background
something
now.
going on. Stuff needs to start breaking the surface, but because I thought that about the election. When I was reporting on the 2020 election, I realized they actually, when Joe Biden said, we've got the most sophisticated voter fraud system in America, or whatever, I wondered, I realized he was right. They had a very extensive coordinated effort at rigging elections all over the country. And I thought, why would you risk outing this? Like they were controlling elections. But it had been kept quiet, and it was kept quiet because they weren't cheating by 20%. They were cheating by 5%. They were giving themselves. And when I say themselves, I'm not just talking about Democrats. It happened. I call out Republicans that cheated too. But I wonder. I was like, you have such control. You by moving the needle 5-10%. 10% is a big number. You can control most elections in a given area, unless you're in a super red place or a super blue place. Everywhere else, you can kind of control stuff. So why would you out yourself by exposing
and
it?
if you look at let's say 2020, for example, it came down to 5 counties and under 20,000 votes per county, and that was the difference between the president of the United States getting elected.
Yeah, if you believe the numbers,
I don't, but they did, and they know what the numbers were. And when it's that small, it's hard to find, and I think they knew that too. Where I don't think it was a national thing. I think they sat back, they looked at the map, and they said, all right, we think the election's going to come down to these 5 counties, these 5 states.
Well, that's what
Let's
Cambridge.
just focus on this, and then everything else we pretty much know it's going to be chalk.
That is exactly what Cambridge Analytica did for the Trump campaign in 2016, right?
Legally.
Digitally and legally, just using Facebook ads and shit, right?
Like targeted ads.
Yeah, it was the most sophisticated digital campaign ever, and they used that exact same strategy.
Yeah.
Right. You just target the counties that you need to flip or secure to win that state, and then move the fuck on. You spend all your money there.
That's right. My point is the margin really wasn't that close. The margins were actually very great, which is why people noticed the fraud. So like if you look at Pennsylvania, Donald Trump was up by 1 million votes when they stopped counting, and then it flipped. So to come back when you've got, and I'm making up the numbers because I don't remember exactly, but it was something like 80% of the vote had been counted. You've got 20% left. Donald Trump's up by 1 million votes. So 100% of the outstanding ballots are going to go to Joe Biden. Of course, they fudge the numbers to try to make it look. But my point is the people in the communities, and the reason why Donald Trump was so confident that the election was stolen was because the people on the ground were crying out about it. They were saying, no, this isn't right, this isn't right. And they noticed because it wasn't a close election. Donald Trump won by a lot.
Yeah, there's two parts of this that are fucking really significant to me. One is you're talking about why would they open themselves up? Now they're going to start a trial where he has the ability to subpoena records and shit. That seems like a fucking mistake.
It is,
right?
but they keep doubling down because it's not quite effective. I think, and I don't know, I'm guessing on all of this stuff, but I think when they thought, oh, we'll just steal the election, get him out, get him away, we'll be fine. They thought he'd go away, and he didn't. And so
They thought Donald Trump would go away.
well, I think so, because why else?
Had they seen any of his press conferences? He's the only president in history that will just stand up, not sit down, stand up for 3 hours and berate the press and make them fucking listen to him.
Anywhere,
He
anytime,
doesn't
any
give a
place,
shit.
the stamina of that guy, I've never seen
It's
anything like it.
amazing.
It's exhausting. Have you seen it? Well, you've seen it in real life.
Yeah.
Because we got invited to the rallies and all that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
and sat with the family. It's just, he's going out in like sweltering heat, giving these speeches forever.
I know,
And there's no
he's-
time limit. Like, I always look for a clock or a prompter or something, just being in production all these years. That doesn't even exist. So he's just going out there and, I beat the virus. And it's all, you're like, oh yeah.
It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. It's astonishing how he does it. And it's not just he does it once or twice. He does it every single day.
Every day. Multiple times a
single
day. We're just
and
like-
it's like, yeah,
We shoot 3 or 4 shows a day here.
that's exhausting.
Yes, and let alone getting on a plane and then going out to the
Yeah.
tarmac in 108-degree heat, talking
and then
to people.
playing golf for 2 hours in the heat, talking to
Nuts.
folks out there.
And that's
then
why
going
he's
to it.
215 pounds, because he stays in shape and he's out there. He's 6'3", 215.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
We saw that when he got arrested, Christina.
He's fit.
They didn't.
He's 6'3", 215.
Nope. Lamar
I feel
Jackson
like that's
is 6'3",
supposed to mean
215.
something to me.
It should.
What is
that
supposed
that
to
was
mean?
what that was his height, and that's what he weighed
I
in
know
at in Fulton
that.
County.
I know that. Are you saying it's good or bad?
I am 6'3".
I'm saying it's not true.
I'm 6'3", and I'm
okay.
225.
That's fake news.
Is he in better shape than me?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was not following. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, 6'3", 215. I understand what it means, but I don't value the numbers.
You should. That's what a man looks like,
Okay.
I'm 10 pounds over that, so I've got some work to do, obviously, but Trump's there.
Oh,
He's 215 pounds, right?
The hair is
Oh, I
actually a
don't
lot lighter than you think.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Doesn't
That's
weigh
probably
much.
it.
Yeah.
he's fit though. I mean, you see his pictures golfing.
I've met him in real life. Here's what I'll say, and obviously you have too. He's not as fat as he looks on TV.
No, the media always posts the most.
But he's very
unflattering
tall in
pictures
real
of
life,
him.
and people don't picture that either. Where like I'm
He's
6'3",
very
and
tall.
we were eye to eye, and I was like, oh shit, he's pretty fucking
He's
tall.
really tall, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 260. That's where I
Okay.
lean. That's where I lean with that.
I'll give it to you.
But it's fine when you're 6'3", you can carry that weight. Like after Olive Garden tonight, I'm probably put on another 25. So we don't know.
So you'll be 235.
No, dude, 225 plus 25. I'll be
Oh,
250. I'll be a deuce and a quarter.
Dude, she went to
Okay.
Arizona State.
I
Calm
was
down with
Arizona
all the
State, sorry.
numbers, dude.
Yeah.
Math.
Yeah, and then we're going to get into the Pythagorean theorem next, because I know that's your specialty.
Yeah.
So
That's with triangles.
it sure is. Yeah,
Yeah, I know that one.
It's A squared plus B squared equals C
Okay.
squared. Again, I don't have time to teach you today.
I'm
You're supposed to
sorry.
teach the audience about
I
what's
know.
going on. Now, with the trials that are coming up, any of these dates, do they actually mean anything? Because I believe the
Yeah.
next trial date is the day before Super Tuesday.
Yes, that's the Washington, D.C. case, which was also the same trial date that Fani Willis originally wanted. They, miraculously just accidentally scheduled the trials on the same day.
Weird, right?
Crazy.
Because the first one where he surrendered was the day after the Republican debate. Strange,
I
right?
know. It's really, really weird. It's
It
almost,
must all just be a coincidence.
they just didn't check the calendar. I'm
No,
sure
that's
they
it.
didn't
They
know.
just picked out a
There's
day
only
random.
365 days in a year, Ross.
Right. The odds are one
One
out
in
of
365,
365.
yeah.
But you got to take out the weekends.
Sure.
Exactly.
So-
but
One-
but will
one in
it actually
220?
happen
Something
is
like
my
that,
question.
yeah.
Will it happen? Because
Right.
right now, I know the election process pretty well. Super Tuesday at that point, he should have such a commanding
He
lead
might
in
already be the-
in the primaries
Yeah.
that he might be there anyways. And then if he is, how do you pass that by the American people of like, all right, now we have the 100% positive
Yeah.
Republican nominee, and we're going to send him to court? I think Biden would be dumb to actually have him do that. And I think the American people would be pissed off that you were definitely interfering in an election. Because at that date, and I believe it's March 23rd, I don't have my thing in front of me,
That's
but that would be roughly 8 months, 7.5 before the actual election.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no, that's why they're doing it when they're doing it. But
won't that get pushed, or do you think that'll stay?
Well, I hope it doesn't go to trial. Like I said, you've got reality of like the way the law works and the way that it's supposed to work, and then you have what we're actually experiencing. So if we actually get into reality where the world is right set up and the judges apply the law and, the Department of Justice actually follows the law, this should get thrown out very quickly because there's a number of reasons, and I fully expect the trial teams to be filing multiple motions to dismiss for a number of reasons. Executive privilege being the one that people have been talking about the most, where he was the president of the United States doing what he believed was essential to protect the United States, our election. He believed that the election.
That's the other thing about this. They have to prove that he didn't believe what he's saying.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that? You think you're gonna get into a battle of wits with this dude that's all he does is play mental chess all the time? You think you're gonna catch him on the stand oh no, you know what? You're
if
right.
he even testified.
I didn't actually believe it. What the fuck? That's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I would assume they're assuming he's not even going to testify. So unless you get some weird admission from him, like you said, there's nothing there. They're counting on a jury convicting him of being Donald Trump.
And in that case in particular, I believe she's trying to try all 19 people at the same exact time.
That in Georgia, that's what. So what she
So
how do you get that many lawyers, security? Because again, I live there. It's impossible.
No, it's not going to happen for a number of reasons. One, 2 of the defendants have already moved for a speedy trial. Their right to a speedy trial, which in Georgia, by Georgia law, they're required to have it, I think, by the end of October, which is where this new October date came. So a couple of the defendants have said, you don't have any incriminating information on us at all. Go ahead and try us. You're not going to win. We'll be out of this at the end of October.
Of this year?
Of this year,
okay.
in like 60 days. And what she's trying to do is take their demand for speedy trial and apply it to everybody else, which you can't do that. The right to a speedy trial is the right of the defendant, not the government. The government continues to try to say speedy trial, but that's the defense right, not the government's right. So now that you've got 19 defendants, and this is why I think Jack Smith only indicted Donald Trump, because you don't have these competing, it will slow the process down.
Yeah.
By having different defendants bring different claims or whatever. So they're going to have to litigate all this. So you're going to have some defendants have their trial heard early. They want to sever themselves from the other 17. And then you're going to have all the remaining 17 defendants are all going to be filing different motions, either probably for severance or maybe to remove it to federal court, like Mark Meadows said. Everybody's going to have different interests in this, and it all needs to be litigated before there can be a trial.
Right.
So in Georgia, I do not anticipate Donald Trump's trial in Georgia going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay. What about Florida?
Florida's set for May.
Again, in May, though, I hate to bring this up again, primaries will be decided.
Right.
So he would, if he...
Yeah.
I expect him to win. Do you?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. If he is the nominee, then how does that even happen in May without that being election interference?
All of this is election interference.
No, I understand that, but May, now you're 6 months away from the election.
Well, so again, this goes back to you have how the law works, and then you have what we're actually experiencing. And because I do believe all of this is election interference, they being the Department of Justice and Fannie Willis and the prosecution, they are just hoping that judges don't apply the law and overlook it. That's the only way they can do what they're trying to do.
They're also hoping, as you said, that a jury will convict him of just being Donald Trump.
Just being Donald Trump.
You got to get 12 people that'll do that, and
I don't even know that they would get that in DC.
Yeah,
even with like Trump deranged DC, I don't know. I am not yet fully convinced that any of these are actually going to go to trial. None of them should go to trial.
They waited 3 years
Right.
to do any of this shit,
Right.
I mean, that's
yeah, because 2 of them in particular. Let's say you were trying to get this to go to trial just for the audience's sake.
Yeah.
I think January 6th, because of how many people are involved there.
In DC or in
correct,
Georgia?
in DC. So
But you only have one defendant.
You do, but you can still subpoena everybody who was there, the Capitol Police.
They've already done that.
The feds. what was there, 152 feds that were there that day on the Capitol. For a trial with that many witnesses, it would go on for 2 years. It would be an OJ trial.
You're exactly right. You are 100% right. You are operating in reality.
I try to.
Yes. This is the way the law works, and it's supposed to go forward. And yes, and the defense trial team is well aware that if we actually put on a real defense, then the trial itself, not just trial prep, but the actual trial could take 6 months to a year. And so, but that's if you have a real trial with an actual opportunity to put the evidence forward.
Well, how would they stop that from happening?
Well, they do it a couple different ways, and this was one of the complaints that John Lauro had at the scheduling hearing at the end of August, a few days ago. He said, "You're depriving me of an opportunity to actually put on a meaningful defense for my client by shoving this case so far forward that I don't have time to interview the people that I need to interview to make sure we put the right people on the stand and do all that stuff." Now, we're talking about staying on the Washington, D.C. case.
Sure.
We're talking about the crazy fast trial date of March 23rd or 24th, whatever it is.
That's unachievable.
It's unachievable, but the thing that really gets me that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about is motions, dispositive motions. Those are motions to dismiss for executive privilege or for, selective prosecution or, whatever it is that they want to bring motions for. The last date that she set, all your dispositive motions have to be filed by October 9th.
Of this year?
Yes. She gave them 6 weeks.
Not a prayer.
Right. There's no way you can meaningfully do that because especially if you want to do, and motions for summary judgment in criminal cases are rare, but you can bring them, and this is a rare case that the defense team may want to bring that in. You have to have looked at all of the evidence first, and you have to know the facts before you in the case before you can even write a motion like that. And they turned over 11.5, the Department of Justice turned over 11.5 million pages of documents for the defense team to go through. And she expects them to go through all of that, analyze it, sort through it, have reviewed all the witness testimony, and file a motion before October 9th.
In less than 60 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less than 45 days.
Yeah, now.
Well, it's called ChatGPT. Maybe you heard of it.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
There's an app
fucking
for that.
feed it all in there.
Jeez.
Right.
Just,
Exactly.
and then it'll
Yeah.
spit out nothing.
And then the
guess,
same
Well, that's
with,
what she's hoping for.
Yeah.
with the Georgia case, with 19 defendants like that, just from a legal perspective there, that would take forever to get all the witnesses, everything else,
Yeah.
everybody involved, all
It's
their
not gonna happen.
assistants, security, Secret Service to block
What
off all those
arena-
roads, all that. I mean,
Yeah, what arena are you going to hold the trial in? How are you going to have 19 defendants?
Jerry
put it in the
World in
Coliseum.
Dallas.
State Farm. I hear State Farm Arena has lots of ample opportunity.
Wait, that one's in
Tons.
That was in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Do
So
it
we
at-
could go there, and then you can have the
They
roof
should do it
They have
open.
very
outdoors.
good.
You can have the roof
surveillance.
open.
Do it at
in
the
there,
Braves Stadium, yeah.
Mercedes-Benz Dome, yeah. Because then you could have the roof open when it's nice, and everybody can have a fun, flirty, windy trial on the nice
Windy
days,
trial.
and then you can close it within 5 minutes.
If there's inclement weather, that's
Yes,
good.
and I think that would be great. And then we could all sit there like it's a Kanye album release party, because that's where that was at as well.
Oh.
He slept there, which is super strange. Yeah,
That
the
is
mattress
kinda
is still there in the locker room.
No.
But yeah, it is. I'll show you a pic afterwards.
Did he sign it?
No, but
I don't want to know what he did with it.
The album
you
sucked.
do. Yeah, you do want to know. I like the album.
very good.
But with that, because of the scope and how broad both of those two trials out of the four in particular, there's just no way you could get in all your evidence, all your witnesses, everything else within that short amount of time.
Correct.
These are years and years and years trials, not
Correct.
45 days.
Correct. Where the defense has kind of raised concern about this is that the judge still set the trial that fast. She still set the dispositive motion deadline by October 9th. Like, how does anybody objectively look at that and say it's appropriate and that the defendant has an honest, meaningful way to defend himself? It's, a lot of people raise Sixth Amendment violation issues, right to meaningful counsel, because the attorneys are saying, I do not have the capability of going through everything in that time frame in order to put on that defense. So
Nobody
Well,
does
who
for,
do you-
for 11 million documents. No one has that.
Who do you appeal to then? Is it the state Supreme Court or some shit?
Well,
or-
it would be part of the appeal process, but that's something that you appeal after a trial.
You
so-
can't get judgment from a higher court.
Not on
during-
that issue.
But what about
What?
election? Because
To not even be able to give
Yeah.
your client a fair trial, you can't appeal that.
Not until
before the
not
fact?
on that issue. No,
That's
you
fucking
can't.
stupid.
You can't appeal other things like I think what I imagine probably if it loses, I hope I hope it wins outright. But the executive privilege issue, like, can you actually try the president for something he was doing in his official capacity? If he loses that, I think it's clearly within his scope of responsibility. But if he loses that, that is something that will get appealed up first. So there's different issues can go up. Okay. There will be issues appealed if this doesn't resolve quickly in favor of Donald Trump. There will be issues that go up on appeal before a trial.
And now there's been this rumor about the Supreme Court that possibly they could rule that none of these trials should go on until after the election, and there could be some appeal towards the Supreme Court in this. Because as of now, we've never had a candidate who, at that point, will have won his primaries, been the head of the party there. Is that a possibility even? And what would it look like? It
would be a motion. So one or all of the defense teams would file a motion of whether it's executive privilege or selective prosecution or, whatever they want to bring, challenging the process. Selective enforcement, saying that this is election interference. They would bring that motion, argue it, and then that motion would go up on appeal.
And
depending on how they bring it.
How long would that take, and when could they possibly rule on that?
Well, it'll go as fast or as slow as the appellate court and the Supreme Court. The appellate court may bow out and say, look, just go straight to the Supreme Court. We're not going to even bother playing, which
they should do, right?
I would assume they would do that, but the normal process is it goes from the district court to the circuit court of appeals and then to the Supreme Court. But if they bow out, say go straight to the Supreme Court, it's up to the Supreme Court can take as little or as much or as little time as they want.
Yeah. What are the chances the left wants Trump to win, or they know maybe they don't want, but they know he's going to win and there's nothing they can do about it, and they just want to derail his second term by keeping him in court all the time?
And this, by the way, this is Dan's conspiracy on the show, that he thinks the left is doing this on purpose because Biden is so old he would never make it through a full term anyways.
Right.
Throw Trump in there and then absolutely bury him with all of this shit to taint the Republican Party for years and years.
And it also swings the pendulum. It also swings the pendulum way to, well, not the Georgia one, right? Because it's in the state.
It depends, but unless it gets removed,
it's a RICO charge, right? So a RICO could go forward even if you are president.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's because it's not a federal charge. Like the president doesn't pardon local charges.
Well, and that's debatable as well. There are. I would be of the opinion that it's possible that he could leave it open for argument. We'll let the trial team figure that one out.
But what I think is that the left may want the pendulum to swing very far back to the right again, so they can get Gavin Newsom into the White House. Because I don't think there's any shot of him winning, as it stands right now. He's too crazy.
If they don't take Donald Trump out. And I think they're trying to do it illegally, to be clear. They're using the Department of Justice and they're using our criminal justice system as a weapon against a political rival. Mm-hmm. But if they are unsuccessful at this, I don't see how there's any benefit to them. That's just my personal opinion. I think there's no benefit to them, and I think they all end up in a lot of trouble.
Wow.
I think
double secret probation, is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
They might have to work at the Olive Garden.
Which is a great place. And shout out to Darden Restaurants and all the beautiful restaurants they own, like Applebee's and everything else. Not a sponsor, but they should be.
I feel, it sounds like they should.
No,
but as this is going forward, and you've been out with Trump, you've been at Mar-a-Lago, all this other stuff, you kind of see how this election season is going. Is there any doubt in your minds that he will be the Republican nominee?
No.
Okay, and then do you think he will win president in 2024?
Yeah, I think he'll win in a landslide. Like, I don't think it's going to even be close. We have to get him through these criminal cases, but in order, truly, because of the way that the cases have gone as far as the partisanship play, tactics involved here, I think there has to be external forces that come into this, because by external forces, I'm intentionally not being specific. And what I mean by that is, what are we in? September, beginning of September. The first trial is the end of March. So it's like 6-7 months away. That's an eternity in Trump time. Like, there's so much that happens between now and then that I anticipate there will be something else. I didn't anticipate the whistleblowers coming forward, on the Joe Biden IRS and all that, or some other type of revelation. Oh, look, Joe Biden found classified documents in his corporate. There are things that happen that I think are going to impact this. And I genuinely don't have a specific idea of what it will be, but 6-7 months in Trump land is just so long that the set of facts that we have today, I don't believe will be the same set of facts we're looking at 7 months from now.
Okay.
And I think they're going to get derailed. It's the same thing we saw like with the Mueller investigation, with the Ukraine impeachment, with everything they've done. It looks like, oh man, they got a special counsel. They're going to indict him. They're going to get him. They're going to.
The walls are closing
and
in.
they never win.
I know.
They never win. And so I anticipate the same type of thing happening here.
Now, let's say one of these things gets tossed beforehand. In your opinion, out of the 4 cases there are, which one has the best shot of being thrown out before the election?
Well, again, legally, like if we were actually following the law, I would say the DC case, because it's clearly executive privilege. He was doing his duties as the president. There's no actual crime alleged. He believed that he believed that the election was being stolen. He never ever once has indicated that he thought he lost the election. So I think that would easily get thrown out. However, we're not in reality at the moment. We're in this kind of pseudo DOJ is dictating reality to us. So it's harder because of the venue. I think they're all different. Georgia, I'll be interested to see if the Georgia case gets removed to federal court or not, or if it stays in state court.
Okay.
Or if they, Mark Meadows brought that motion. I assume President Trump's trial team down there will do that as well, but we'll have to wait and see what they decide. But I would imagine that could potentially get removed to federal court. And then that gets really interesting, because then you have 2 federal cases of the same set of facts being tried at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It makes it interesting. And so it's just kind of a weird set of circumstances. The Florida case, I feel like, is the only case that's based in reality. That stands a chance at being, and I don't just mean tried as in trial, but I mean the whole procedure, going through the whole process fairly and correctly, because you have a judge that actually applies the law there.
And you have to testify in that one, correct?
I don't, if they call me to testify. I mean, my participation is so minor that I don't know that they would call me. But if they did, yeah, I would.
Christina, they'll call you. Okay? Look, if it's on TV, they're going to call you. Okay. They don't want a bunch of uggos up on the stand kind of mucking it up. That's not good for ratings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not going to bring Mary, the homely little Trump, troll doll.
There's no trolls that work at
But you saw the girl, the weird cousin who wrote the book that sold 1 million copies, Mary Trump.
Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember that. It sold 1 million copies?
She lives in a cave. She was a little troll doll. She lives in a cave.
Okay.
She sold 1 million copies. So much so, in fact, they're doing another one.
I think she and
No.
Obama's.
Yes.
I think she and Obama's dad live in adjacent caves. Actually,
It could be, yeah. It could
Obama's dad or brother?
either way.
be. Oh, no, it's his brother. That's it. Yeah, the brother.
Malik Obama is fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
If you're not
he
following
pops
him,
out of a tent in
follow him
Africa
on
once a year, and
follow
he's
him on
just like,
Twitter.
"Hey." That's
Follow him
great.
on Twitter.
My
He's
brother's
really
gay.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which turns
Big.
out maybe he is.
That's a big topic coming up recently.
I know.
Everybody's
Well,
saying it.
that's what he
Tucker
did.
Carlson.
Well, that's what Malik did. He came out and was basically like, yeah, my brother's gay.
Yeah,
Like,
but then Tucker Carlson 2 nights ago came out and said not only is he gay, but he was smoking crack and banging gay dudes.
I don't have a problem with any of this.
Me
Just be
neither.
honest with who you are as a person, dude.
Love who you love. Like,
Yeah.
I've never asked you
And
what you're
Sean,
into.
I want to see Big Mike's hog.
Yeah.
Just a little peek. Just get one peek.
That's his only dream in this
10
life.
seconds
That's your
on
only
screen.
dream?
Yeah.
Wait, you want it on screen?
Yeah, we went on screen.
I want everybody.
Yeah,
to
for the
see it.
people.
I'm not
Oh.
selfish. What the fuck's your
It'll
problem?
be on Patreon. It'll be on Patreon,
Christ,
obviously.
man.
Now, mine, same sort of thing. I want to see somebody's hog, but it's Bruce Jenner's.
Yeah, he wants to see it. It's in a jar somewhere.
He
No,
won the
his-
decathlon.
Yeah.
So like that, I want to see what a real Olympian's hog looks like in a jar, like in a formaldehyde jar.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
Well,
You've no interest in seeing Bruce Jenner's
it's
thumb?
never crossed my mind.
That's
I
fucking.
can't stop thinking about it.
There's a fiery car wreck on the side of the road. You don't stop, slow down, and look for a couple seconds.
Yeah, but I don't stop and go, I wish I could see the person's hog.
Never?
No, but the hog is the car wreck. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
God
I'm sorry,
damn
I've lost the metaphor. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, Christina.
I just
mean, you want
ruined
to talk
everything.
about mucking up the show, but
We just want to see weird dicks, man. That's
all we want to see.
Look at the logo
in
of the
life.
show.
Yeah,
You see it?
3
There's dicks
on
in the fucking
there.
logo.
They're all hidden.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, there we
Nailed
go.
it.
There
Nailed
we
it,
go.
yeah. But
Now-
every time we pass a
now you know
violent
what show you're on.
car crash, all I want to see is a buck naked man smashed against the window, and then his
Meat and tubes.
Yep.
The whole thing, just like
whole thing laid out and dressed for me, where it's just like, oh man, and then maybe the windshield wiper still going, so it's clean. I want to get a clean
good
shot,
shot.
and I want
Okay.
to be able to see inside of it, and that's just
Is that
kind of
what
my life
happened
goal.
when you jumped to the curb in Atlanta?
Sort of.
no. He got poison ivy.
I
No.
did. Yeah, I got poisoned
Honest.
because I had to walk through the woods. It was like
But at least you had
5.6
shoes on.
miles. I had shoes on.
How did you get naked with shoes on?
So we all made a plan.
well, you could just put shoes on.
Yeah, it was a senior prank. So we knew we were going to run around this. It was like a guard station. I'll even tell you the neighborhood. It was Country Club of the South in Atlanta. So we ran
should
around
go
the
back and
guard
do it
station
again.
buck
Let's
naked,
do it again.
But we did it completely dead serious. We didn't make eye contact with them. We made it as if we were a cross country team. And so we did a full drill around the guard station, and then
They
called
didn't do
Fulton
it.
County
Oh no,
PD.
but then they started chasing you.
Well, no, they called Fulton County PD. And so once Fulton County showed up and we saw the because it'll say it on the side of the car, you were like, oh shit, you're going downtown to the big boy jail. That's when we all took off. I had to get
that was
out of
probably
there.
a good move. So wait, so you were close enough to the cops that you could see them?
Correct.
Security guard.
No.
Oh yeah, when they came later.
And
Yeah.
you
When the
still
police
outran them?
came, yes. So what I did was
And you were like a child?
hopped the curb because they were in a car. I was 18 years old, so I hopped the.
I feel
curb.
like this was a bad execution on the part of the Fulton County Police. A bunch of naked 18-year-olds that are running naked. I feel like they
did
should be able to
what
stop
they
you.
could, and I'll tell you why.
Well, they were
'cause
all
we hopped the curb.
They were all greased up.
and they
too.
couldn't get their car over
Did
there.
they get hands on?
No,
No.
but they were greased up, so they were super slippery.
We were already sweating.
I mean, he's slippery.
It's Georgia
right,
in the summer.
He's slippery
so, like,
right
yeah.
now. You stay slippery.
I
most
sure
of the
do.
time, yeah.
I put a half-inch of cocoa butter head to toe. That's before I start my day. Forgive me,
Naturally.
because I work out obviously, and it's about the flex.
You
the
want that
pump.
nice sheen?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the striations of the muscle. Yeah.
And usually
Sure.
I'll go full mirror and hike up on the toes because I want to see my calves flex and everything else too. Cocoa butter really adds to your muscle definition.
And did the cops notice the cocoa butter?
I hope so.
They could smell it for
Like
sure.
that was I'll never get that answer, but it's the same
Right,
thing where we just
right.
want the answer. If I could have them on the show
Yeah.
and be like, hey, forget about my huge dong and me being naked and all that other stuff running around that night. How are my triceps?
Yeah.
How are my calves?
I really am curious how you got away.
Here's how he got away.
Ran.
They got there and they smelled
Physically
like,
ran.
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
physically
You
ran,
ditched the
ditched
car.
They
and
s-
then I had to go pick up the car from the tow yard from Fulton County.
And they didn't stop you there?
No, because they had no evidence. This is pre-camera phone, pre-dashboard
Okay.
cams, all of it. So
And
like,
you wore clothes
this was
to the
old
tow
school,
yard?
like Smokey and the Bandit bullshit.
They wouldn't have thought it was you anyways. If you show up to a crime scene and it smells like cocoa butter, you're not looking for an 18-year-old white kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But what time of day was it?
It was around 2:30 in the morning.
Okay, so that's a disadvantage for being white at 2:30 in the morning if you're
Right.
trying to run away. in
Not
the
if
dark.
you're covered in cocoa butter, though.
Yeah, look.
I mean, it doesn't
was
add
really
color,
fast.
but yeah.
I got a ton of D1 offers for football. I was really fast at the time. So,
Okay.
I mean, I was out of there. Out of there.
And were you faster than the other 6?
I think it was, if we're going 40 time, I think it was
Did
a
they get
4.24.
anybody?
4.24. No, they didn't get
They
anybody.
didn't catch anybody.
No one. We
Come on,
all
Fulton
bounced.
County can do better.
But we knew the woods, though. And so that was the advantage. They didn't know the woods. Now, if we were in the inner city, they would have got us. But they didn't know the fucking woods. So,
All right.
yeah, advantage, honky. You know what I'm saying? So,
Sounds like it.
yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
we ended up winning that one. I lost
That's a good one.
but
I mean, that's a good one to win.
I lost the war, though, because Mom had to pick me up the next day. Had
Did
to
you
go to
have
the tow
clothes?
yard, and all 4 tires blew out from hopping the median. So, I had to explain all that. And then the security guards stopped my mom and told her the entire story with me in the car. And I'm just like, oh, my God, dude, yes. Yes, I was naked. We can FaceTime her after this. To this day, she's still pissed off about it. She was just like, come
I
on
don't
up.
think she is.
Yeah. I mean, look, you start doing enough cool shit in life, you forget about the bad stuff. But I guarantee if you asked her in private, she'd be like, yeah, fuck that, and then fuck his 18th birthday party. Broke the deck off the back of the house. I mean, it was a disaster. Kegs rolled down into the woods. Cops came. 2 people were fucking in one of our guest rooms. It was just a mess all the way around.
All right.
Sorry, ex-Tina, that I brought you down to my world.
At least
but-
it was only
No.
2 people.
Yeah.
That actually was what I thought. I was
Oh,
like,
you were hoping for a group thing?
No, I was not. But I was like, if
I don't know how you get
limited
down.
to 2.
But if you do, like, we don't judge you, obviously.
Thank you.
One thing we don't do on the show is kink shame. Never have, never will. So whatever you're into, don't really care.
Yeah.
If you wear a rabbit mask and,
Eat little carrots. Little baby
hang
carrots.
it, like you go to like the O'Connell Lodge and you're only like, I need room 112. It's very significant to me. I'm not going to judge you for that. Don't really care.
Okay.
Thanks.
She's got a
but-
full, she's got a
I feel
full
very welcome.
Yeti cooler full of those baby carrots.
Yeah,
Like,
just
come
toss
on,
them
man.
out to people.
What are you doing?
Now, if you voted for Biden, I'd give a shit. But the rest of it, like kink shaming and all that stuff, we're not going to do here on this show. We're just not.
I feel better.
And
Yeah.
part of me hopes that you do have to testify in this, and then somebody's got to transcribe this entire show and then read it back to you on the stand
Okay.
and be like, okay,
I don't think I said anything that could be used though.
the first 2 carrots you shoved into that man's mouth in 1998, like,
We were in 96. It was 96,
yeah,
right?
whatever it was.
Well, 96, you were only 14. Let's,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
on.
got to make you legal. So 18, 19 is probably where you got into. Where'd you go to college?
Arizona State.
Oh, shit. You've had more than baby carrots then. At Arizona State?
I went to Arizona State, but I
God
wasn't cool.
damn.
I've never been cool there.
I bet you had a fucking trapeze net set up over the bed. I bet you there was midgets, and I bet you had a weighted pole, like one of those poles that go back and forth, that you could walk across a tightrope on. I bet you had
Have you
that
seen the
above the bed.
pictures?
I haven't, but I can guess.
That's a good guess.
An attractive lady at Arizona State, huge shock, because that
But-
never happens
yeah,
there.
like a Yeti cooler full of fucking baby carrots.
Yeah,
Like, how do
exactly.
you not find that?
Exactly.
You know?
And I think we all know who you were.
Right.
Were you a dork in
I was like a super loser. Like I've
how is
never
that
been
possible?
cool.
What about now?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Married, boyfriends.
no.
What do you got? Anything?
No, I have a dog that's now with my parents because I travel too much for work.
Okay.
So she's living with my parents.
How old's the dog?
5.
Okay. What's
Yeah.
the dog's name?
Hope.
Oh,
She's
really?
an adorable golden doodle.
Did you name
She's
her
like-
that during Obama's?
No, I was not a liberal.
Second
I've
campaign.
never been. Okay. I will. Okay, hang on. Let's clear a few things up.
Hope Solo?
No, I've never been liberal ever, so I'm not that much of a loser, right?
Okay.
I've never been liberal. I've never been woke. I've never been any of that. So I'll set the record very
No, it's
clear
fine.
on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I've always been. I was actually never involved in politics. I would never have really called myself conservative until like 2020 when you had to pick a side.
Sure.
But prior to that, no, I wasn't involved in politics.
So why'd you name the dog Hope?
So it's actually like
Did you have another dog named Change?
no Joy. So my sister and I went and got
Hope and Joy?
Hope and Joy. We went and got doodles from the. It's
This
like
is some white girl
it is.
shit, dude.
It's yeah, and the story
Smells like
can
pumpkin
get
spice in here.
really
now.
deep. But I have Hope and my sister has Joy. But now my sister kind of has both Hope and Joy because Hope stays with my mom and Joy is with my sister, and they're all in Tennessee and they're all together. And I was the one that orchestrated the whole thing and then gave them the dogs.
Gotcha. Yeah, when I was a kid, I had 2 dogs, Joy and Pain, but I was a huge Rob Bass fan. And what? Joy and Pain. Oh, come on, here we go. And both of them were like Sunshine and Rain.
Oh, that's
the
good.
next
I like
lyric
it.
in that
I like
song.
it.
You're welcome for that. But no, I think the last dog I had, the name was Creed. Just a big Creed fan.
Yeah,
honestly.
I could see that.
And the dog always had his arms wide open every time I came home. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here today.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Now's the point in the show we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you
Oh.
or helped you become the person you are today. Don't say me. A lot of people do just because
shoot,
of
now
the
I've gotta think
tours
of a
that I
different
served
answer.
over in
Yeah.
Olive Garden. But
I would say my sister. My sister is my person,
okay.
and she's just awesome.
What's her name?
Carrie,
Carrie.
Christina and Carrie, and she lives in Tennessee. She's just my person.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How amped are you to get rid of the last name Bob eventually?
I don't know that I will get rid of it.
3 B's is a little weird in one last
You're
name.
not the first person to say that.
No shit.
Yeah, why are there 2 B's at the end? Bob?
Is that because the second B is silent, the third B is silent?
Yeah.
No, it's Bob.
You would be surprised how many people ask me how I pronounce my last name.
I bet.
I'm like,
No,
I
that's
didn't think it was that hard.
stupid. No, it's not that
Did
hard.
your dad have Tourette's?
no.
Like I didn't know.
I don't
the
think
double is on the
stopped.
end.
he didn't create his own name, you know.
Right.
Some people do.
I'm sure it got truncated when somebody long
Oh,
ago
yeah.
came over.
Yeah.
But-
My wife's got a friend in Ojai, and they let the kid name himself. His name is Googie. Swear to God, true story.
First name Googie.
First name Googie.
What's the
Looking
last
forward
name?
to President Googie. That seems like a possibility, doesn't it?
How do you let a kid name themselves?
You know who else did it? Peekaboo Streets. Remember the Olympian?
Yeah.
She named
Okay.
herself Peekaboo. Same thing.
How do they do? Do they change? Like, how do they get them out of the hospital with like on a birth certificate?
You know, you can put something temp in.
You can?
I've got 3 kids. Yeah.
Are they all
you can put something
temporary
temp in.
names? Are you
and they're
gonna
like, oh,
change
you can
them?
come back. And I was like, yeah, cool.
Are you
What's that?
going to change your kids' names?
No, they named themselves, so they're good. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just noises. It's all
Bartholomew, which was a shocking one. Like, you know, it was the first word out of his mouth when he came out of the vagina. It was just like, I was like, son, what would you like your name to be? And he looked at me and said, Father, Bartholomew would be lovely. And
So father
I
was the
believe
first
everything
word
you're
out of his
saying.
mouth,
yeah,
not Bartholomew.
it's Father Bartholomew.
Yeah.
So that's what we call him.
Okay.
Yeah. It was weird
Cool.
that he was standing up already,
Sure was.
but whatever.
Do you know he started sprinting in the room?
The day he was born?
He walked.
No
It was
kidding.
very Christ-like. We were all
Did Christ
touched.
do that?
What's up?
Did Christ do that?
He walked on
Yeah,
water.
He walked on water.
Yeah, but not straight out of the womb.
You don't know that.
You weren't there.
I wasn't
Yeah.
there. That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like that should have made the story.
No,
Christina.
they were in a manger. So
Hey, if we
Okay.
were on trial right now, that would not be the line of questioning right there. Were you there? Yeah.
speculation.
Yeah, very speculative. The
True.
book is called Stealing Your Votes by Christina Bobb. It is excellent. We chatted about this last time you were on the show. This is available everywhere. Is there anything else that you want to say?
If I could just encourage everybody, please get involved. We can save the 2024 election, but it takes all of us getting involved. It's not going to be done from the top down. Everybody's got to get involved in your precinct and in your county. And if you clean up your precincts in your county, 2024 will be great.
I agree. Everybody go out and vote. It is important this year more than ever. That is coming up. Christina Bobb, thank you for all your insights on the cases and everything else, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun.
We greatly appreciate it. For D'Anthony Holloway, Christina Bobb, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.